Laura Miller stood at the large window overlooking the massive dome of the Galactic Council chambers. For 5 decades, humanity had been part of this interstellar community. For 5 decades, they had played by the rules. Ambassador Miller, the draconian delegation requests to postpone today's trade agreement again, said her assistant, moving quietly beside her. Laura sighed. The reptilian draconians had made their disdain for humans clear from the beginning. That's the 3rd time this month. Tell them we accept, but this is the final extension. Her assistant nodded and walked away. Laura continued looking at the alien ships coming and going outside the space station. Some were elegant and curved, others blocky and functional. Humanity's vessels were somewhere in between, practical yet with a certain flair, just like humans themselves. Far from this political center, Captain John Hayes walked through the corridors of the research vessel Orion's Arrow *. The ship hummed with the familiar sounds of engines and life support systems as it orbited a distant moon on the edge of human territory. "Captain, you should see this," called Olivia Bennett from her science station. Her fingers danced across displays showing energy readings. John leaned over her shoulder. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" "Energy signatures unlike anything we've recorded before. Daniel and I have been tracking them for 3 days." Daniel Clark nodded from his station across the room. "They're concentrated just beyond the Kuiper Belt outpost. They appear and disappear at regular intervals." "Natural phenomenon?" asked John. "Not likely," said Daniel. "There's a pattern that suggests artificial origin." John frowned. "Notify Earth Command. I want continuous monitoring." Back at the Galactic Council, Laura sat through another tedious meeting where the concerns of minor species, like humans, were pushed to the end of the agenda. The Council reaffirms its position that humanity's military development must remain within the established limitations, droned the Teldari representative, a tall, willowy being with 6 eyes arranged in a circle. "Peacekeeping protocols must be maintained." Laura kept her face neutral as she made notes. For 50 years, humans had accepted these restrictions. They had focused on trade, cultural exchange, and scientific advancement instead of military might. Most species saw them as diplomatic but weak. If only they knew. The communication alert on her desk blinked urgently. Laura excused herself and stepped out to read the message. Strange disruptions were affecting frontier colonies. The Council had promised to investigate, but had done nothing so far. On New Horizon, the farthest human colony, families went about their day unaware of the danger approaching. 30,000 people lived there, mining resources and building a new world. Back on the Orion's Arrow *, communications specialist Kate Monroe removed her headset with a troubled expression. "Captain, we've lost contact with the New Horizon colony," she said. John turned sharply. "All channels." "Yes, sir. Complete silence for the past hour." "Set course immediately," John ordered. "Maximum speed." "Sir," said his first officer, "Council protocol states we should notify the peacekeeping fleet first." John's face hardened. By the time they respond, whatever's happening could be over. "We're the closest vessel. Set course now." As the Orion's Arrow * changed direction, a massive shadow fell over New Horizon. The colony's automated defenses activated too late as the first draconian warship entered orbit. In her private chambers on the Council station, Laura received another message. This one made her blood run cold. The draconian ambassador had suddenly left the station with his entire delegation. Deep within Earth's Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown to the Galactic Council, a sensor lit up. A silent alarm triggered automatic messages to specific individuals across Earth and its colonies. Project Safeguard had been dormant for decades, but the systems were always watching, always ready. The Draconians wouldn't know it for several more days, but they had just crossed a line. And on the other side of that line, humanity's war machine was beginning to stir from its long slumber. The Orion's Arrow * dropped out of faster-than-light travel near New Horizon colony. Captain John Hayes stood frozen at the main viewport, where a thriving settlement should have been. Only ruins remained. "My God," whispered Daniel Clark beside him. The scientist's face had gone pale. "Scan for life signs," John ordered, his voice tight. Kate Monroe worked her communication station frantically. "No response on any frequency, Captain." Security Chief Alan Russell's voice came over the ship's comm. "Sir, request permission to lead a ground team." John nodded. "Granted. Full tactical gear. We don't know what we're dealing with." 30 minutes later, Alan led a team of 6 through the broken streets of New Horizon. Buildings were shattered, roads torn up. Bodies lay where they had fallen. Men, women, children. No one had been spared. This wasn't a natural disaster. Alan reported back to the ship. "These are weapons impacts. Precision strikes on power, communications, and defense systems first, then systematic destruction of the colony." Olivia Bennett joined him on the surface with scanning equipment. She knelt by a blackened crater. "These energy signatures match what we detected days ago, Captain. Can you identify the weapons?" John asked over the comm. "Yes," she replied, her voice hardening. "Draconian pulse cannons. I'm certain of it." On the ship, Kate suddenly straightened in her chair. "Captain, I'm picking up transmissions. They're heavily encrypted, but the pattern is definitely draconian." "Direction," John demanded. "Beyond the moon. There's a fleet out there." John made a quick decision. "Record everything. Prepare all evidence for transmission to Earth. We need to get this information back." Before they could finish, alarms blared across the bridge. "Draconian warships approaching," called the tactical officer. "They'd spotted us." "Evasive maneuvers," John ordered. "Get our people back from the surface now." The Orion's Arrow swung around, engines flaring as it raced to pick up the ground team. Draconian ships, sleek, predatory vessels with forward-swept wings, appeared on the edge of the system. "They're charging weapons," reported Tactical. "Get us out of here as soon as the team is aboard," John said, gripping his chair as the first enemy shots streaked past them. The rescue shuttle docked with seconds to spare. The Orion's Arrow accelerated hard, taking hits to its rear shields as it fled. "Transmission to Earth," John said to Kate. "Priority 1. Send everything we found." Kate worked quickly. "Transmission sent, but I don't know if it all got through. They're jamming us now." Through the viewport, John saw more draconian ships arriving. Not just a patrol, this was a battle fleet. Dozens of vessels, arranged in attack formation. "They're not just hitting outlying colonies," he realized aloud. "This is a full invasion force." The Orion's Arrow barely escaped, ducking into FTL travel as its rear shields failed. The ship was damaged but alive, carrying crucial evidence of the attack. On Earth, Ambassador Laura Miller was awakened by an urgent call. She listened in silence to the partial transmission from the Orion's Arrow. "Wake the President," she told her aide. "And contact Admiral Martinez immediately." Across the solar system, hidden protocols activated. Dormant facilities hummed to life. Personnel were quietly recalled from leave. In the council chambers the next day, Laura confronted the Teldari representative. "We have evidence of a draconian attack on our colony. 30,000 civilians murdered." The Teldari blinked his 6 eyes slowly. "A most serious accusation. The Draconians claim your research vessel attacked their peaceful expedition." "That's a lie," Laura said through gritted teeth. "Such matters require investigation. The council will form a committee to study." "While you form committees, our people are dying," Laura interrupted. "Where is the Draconian ambassador? Why isn't he here to answer these charges?" The council chambers erupted in murmurs. The Teldari raised his hands for silence. "The Draconian delegation has temporarily withdrawn for consultations. We cannot make judgments without all parties present." Laura looked around at the alien faces, some concerned, others indifferent, a few almost smug. For 50 years, Humanity had trusted this system. That trust had just run out. Laura Miller stood before the full Galactic Council, her back straight despite her exhaustion. 3 days had passed since the attack on New Horizon. In that time, 2 more human colonies had gone silent. "We have presented evidence of unprovoked draconian aggression," she said. "Satellite imagery, weapons signatures, communications logs, all point to a coordinated military strike against civilian targets." The Telvari representative tilted his head. "The draconian delegation has provided counter-evidence suggesting human military vessels violated their territory first." The draconian ambassador, who had finally returned to the council, flicked his tongue. "Humans have been building weapons beyond approved limits. We acted in self-defense." Laura fought to keep her voice steady. 30,000 civilians. Children. Families. How was killing them self-defense? The council chamber fell silent. Some representatives looked away uncomfortably. "This council needs time to evaluate all evidence," said the chairman. "We will form a special committee to—" "While you deliberate, our people die," Laura interrupted. "We request immediate peacekeeping forces to protect our remaining colonies." The chairman blinked slowly. "Such measures require consensus. We cannot act without proper procedure." Laura looked around the chamber. She saw hesitation, political calculation, and fear on alien faces. No help would come from here. She gathered her materials. "Earth thanks the Council for its consideration." Back in her private chamber, Laura received an encrypted message from Earth. She read it twice, then erased it completely. Her assistant entered. "Ambassador, your shuttle is ready." "Thank you," she said. "Please inform the Council that I am returning to Earth for consultations." On Earth, Admiral Paul Martinez stood in the Oval Office as President Elizabeth Carter reviewed the latest reports. 3 colonies gone, thousands dead, and the Council does nothing, the President said, her face grim. "Madam President, we need to activate the full safeguard protocol," Admiral Martinez said. "The Draconians are pushing deeper into our territory." President Carter stared out the window at the Washington Monument. "For 50 years we played by their rules, limited our military, shared our technology, trusted their system." "Yes, Mom." She turned back to him. "And all the while, we prepared for this day. Activate the protocol." "Admiral." "All phases." "Yes, Madam President." He paused. "General Nelson has already been recalled from retirement." "Good. We'll need him." Across the solar system, hidden installations began powering up. On Mars, underground hangars opened for the first time in decades. In the asteroid belt, mining operations suddenly shifted to military production. Beneath the Rocky Mountains, an elevator descended into the Earth. Inside stood General Richard Nelson, a weathered man in his 60s, accompanied by Lieutenant Grace Harper. "It's been 20 years since I've been down here," Nelson said. "Is everything still operational?" "Yes, sir," Grace replied. "The systems have been maintained in full readiness, just as you ordered before retirement." The elevator stopped. Doors opened to reveal a vast command center carved into the mountain. Hundreds of personnel worked at stations, with more arriving hourly. "Welcome back, General," said a voice. Admiral Martinez approached from across the room. "I wish it were under better circumstances." Nelson nodded. "The sleeping giant wakes." "Indeed. Let me show you what we've built while the Council wasn't looking." They walked to a large situation room where 3-dimensional displays showed the solar system and beyond. Red markers indicated Draconian fleet movements. "They think they're hunting sheep," Nelson said, studying the enemy positions. "They don't realize they've stumbled into a wolf den." Martinez gestured to a young officer. "Captain, show the General Project Titan." The display changed to show massive shipyards hidden within Jupiter's moons. There, 5 enormous vessels took shape, unlike anything humanity had officially built before. "The Draconians have no idea what's coming," Martinez said. "None of them do." On the edge of the solar system, More Draconian ships emerged from faster-than-light travel, weapons charging as they approached the human colony on Europa. They expected easy victory, like before. They were wrong. General Nelson walked through the massive underground facility, his footsteps echoing on metal floors. Lieutenant Grace Harper kept pace beside him, her tablet displaying schematics and status reports. Sleeping Giant has been maintained at 98% readiness for 20 years, she explained. We rotate personnel every 6 months to maintain secrecy. Nelson nodded. How many know about this place? Less than 500 people on Earth. The Council has no idea. They entered a vast chamber where hundreds of technicians worked at control stations. A massive holographic display showed the solar system, with red dots marking Draconian positions. Admiral Martinez met them at the center of the room. Welcome to the heart of Project Safeguard, General. Show me what we've got, Nelson said. Martinez gestured, and the display changed to show a massive shipyard hidden inside Ganymede, one of Jupiter's moons. This is just one of 5 construction facilities. We've been building in secret for decades. Grace enhanced the image to show enormous ships taking final form in the hidden docks. The Titan-class battleships. 5 vessels, each more powerful than anything the Draconians have fielded. Bigger than Council regulations permit, Nelson noted. Martinez smiled thinly. Much bigger. And with weapons the aliens don't even know are possible. Dr. Frank Morgan, a thin man with gray hair, joined them at the display. We've been studying alien technology for 50 years. But we didn't just copy it, we improved it. He brought up technical schematics on a side screen. Their shield technology, their weapons, their drive systems, we pushed them all beyond what they thought possible. Nelson studied the designs. They limited what we could build because they feared what we might do with it. And they were right to fear us, Martinez said. But they shouldn't have attacked us. Across the room, a communications officer called out, Admiral, the Europa colony is under attack. The main display shifted to show the ice-covered moon of Jupiter, where 5,000 colonists lived in underground habitats. 7 Draconian warships had entered orbit and were firing on the surface. Defensive systems are holding, the officer reported, but they won't last long. Martinez turned to Nelson. It's time to show our hand, General. Nelson nodded. Activate the Jupiter defense grid. Grace relayed the order. On the display, hidden installations on 3 of Jupiter's moons powered up. Energy signatures flared to life. The Draconian ships continued their attack, unaware of what was happening. Then, suddenly, massive energy beams lanced out from the moons. 2 enemy ships exploded immediately. A third spun away, crippled. They're trying to retreat, the tactical officer reported. Don't let them, Nelson ordered. No survivors, no witnesses, not yet. The remaining Draconian ships tried to flee but were caught in crossfire from the moon-based weapon platforms. Within minutes, all 7 enemy vessels were destroyed. Europa colony is secure, Grace announced. No casualties reported. Martinez turned to a tall, broad-shouldered man waiting quietly nearby. Captain William Collins, meet General Nelson. The men shook hands. Captain Collins will command our flagship, the Defiance *. Martinez explained. When will it be ready? Nelson asked. It's ready now, Collins replied. All 5 Titan ships are operational. We've been running simulated combat drills for months. Nelson nodded in approval. The Draconians think they're facing a minor species with limited military capability. It's time they learned how wrong they are. Meanwhile, in another part of the facility, technicians prepared a worldwide broadcast. President Carter would address humanity within the hour, revealing truths kept hidden for decades. Outside the solar system, Draconian command ships received confusing reports. Their fleet at Europa had gone silent. Surveillance probes detected unusual energy readings from Jupiter's moons. Lord Selphar, Supreme Commander of the Draconian forces, dismissed these concerns. Continue as planned. The humans are weak. Their colonies will fall one by one. He would soon discover just how wrong he was. Humanity's war machine wasn't just awake now. It was ready for battle. Captain William Collins stood on the bridge of the Defiance *, humanity's largest warship ever built. The vessel stretched nearly 2 miles from bow to stern, its sleek black hull hiding weapons that would have been forbidden under council regulations. "All systems ready, Captain," reported his first officer. "The fleet is in position." William nodded. Through the view screen, he could see the other 4 Titan battleships forming up near Saturn's rings. They had been hidden here for years, waiting for this moment. "The Draconian invasion force has entered the solar system," announced the tactical officer. 30 warships approaching Saturn. "They expect to find a token defense force," William said. "Let's surprise them." On Earth, President Carter had just finished her address to humanity. For the first time, the public learned about Project Safeguard and the secret military buildup. Initial shock gave way to determination as people realized they were not as defenseless as they had believed. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Nelson watched the approaching enemy fleet on the main display. "All ships, this is General Nelson," he said into the communication system. "Operation Thunderbolt is now active. Engage the enemy and show them what humanity is capable of." The 5 Titan ships moved out from behind Saturn's rings, their massive engines flaring blue against the darkness of space. The Draconian fleet continued forward, unaware of the trap they were flying into. "Enemy ships in range," reported the weapons officer on the Defiance *. "Target their lead vessels," William ordered. "Fire when ready." Energy weapons unlike anything seen in the galaxy before lanced out from the human ships. 3 Draconian vessels exploded immediately. The others began evasive maneuvers, but too late. "They're trying to regroup," the tactical officer said. Lieutenant Commander Mary Sullivan's voice came over the comm. "Fighter squadrons ready for deployment, Captain." "Launch all fighters," William commanded. Hundreds of small, agile craft poured from the human battleships. Unlike the bulky fighters used by most species, these were sleek, fast, and heavily armed. Mary led the first wave, diving toward the confused Draconian formation. "They didn't expect us to have fighters," she said as her squadron tore through the enemy ranks. "They have no point defense systems activated." The Draconian fleet tried to respond, but they were caught between the massive human battleships and the swarms of fighters attacking from all directions. On the Defiance *, Engineer Sam Brooks monitored the ship's new defensive systems. "Aegis shields holding at full strength, Captain. Their weapons can't penetrate." William nodded. "Return fire. Target their command ship." The Defiance * unleashed another barrage. The Draconian command vessel shuddered under the impact, its shields failing. Lord Selthar, aboard the Draconian flagship, stared in disbelief at his tactical display. "Impossible. These are not human vessels. The humans do not have this technology." "My lord," his second-in-command said, "scans confirm these are human ships, but they are unlike anything in our records." "Retreat," Selthar ordered. "Fall back and regroup." The Draconian fleet tried to withdraw, but the human forces pressed their advantage. More enemy ships exploded or drifted, disabled. On the Defiance *, William received a message from Earth. "Captain, this is Admiral Martinez. We're broadcasting this battle across all Galactic Council frequencies. Let them see what happens when humanity is pushed too far." William smiled grimly. "Understood, Admiral. We'll give them a show they won't forget." Mary's fighters continued their assault, systematically disabling the remaining Draconian ships. "These reptiles thought we were easy prey," she said as she lined up another shot. They were wrong. By the time the battle ended, 25 Draconian ships had been destroyed or disabled. Only 5 managed to escape, including Lord Selthar's damaged flagship. In the council chambers, Representatives from dozens of species watched the broadcast in stunned silence. The humans they had dismissed as a minor power had just defeated one of the strongest military forces in the galaxy. Ambassador Laura Miller, who had returned to the council, stood calmly as the aliens turned to look at her. "This is just the beginning," she said quietly. "They crossed the line. Now they'll see what humanity is truly capable of." 1 week after the Battle of Saturn's Rings, General Nelson stood in the war room beneath the Rocky Mountains. The holographic display showed human forces advancing across multiple fronts as they reclaimed their territory. "The mining colony on Titan has been secured," Grace reported. Captain Collins and the Defiance led the operation. No civilian casualties. Nelson nodded with satisfaction. "And Mars Base?" "Major Chris Howard's ground forces have retaken it. The Draconians retreated after only 6 hours of fighting." Grace highlighted areas of the display. "We now control all inner system colonies again." Admiral Martinez entered the room, followed by Dr. Frank Morgan. "The Draconians are falling back on all fronts," Martinez said. "They clearly didn't expect this level of resistance." "What's the status of their biological weapons?" Nelson asked. Dr. Morgan brought up new data on a side screen. "We've neutralized them completely. The countermeasures we developed work even better than expected." For years, human scientists had secretly studied draconian biology and weapons. They had prepared defenses against technologies they weren't supposed to know about. "General," Grace said, "we've intercepted communications from the Galactic Council. They're holding an emergency session about the war." Nelson smiled thinly. "Let them talk. We have work to do." On the bridge of the Defiance Captain William Collins reviewed the battle plans for their next mission. The ship orbited Titan, its massive hull casting a shadow on the moon's surface below. "Captain," called his communications officer, "Lieutenant Harper has sent new intelligence from Earth Command." William opened the secure file. It contained detailed information about the Draconian homeworld, their defenses, fleet positions, and vulnerable points. "How did we get this?" he asked. "Lieutenant Harper led a team that captured a Draconian command ship," the officer explained. "They downloaded their entire database before the self-destruct sequence activated." William studied the information. This could change everything. On the Galactic Council station, representatives from various species argued loudly. The defeat of the Draconian fleet had shocked them all. "The humans concealed military technology," shouted the Teldari representative. "They violated council regulations." Ambassador Laura Miller stood calmly in the center of the chamber. "We concealed nothing. We developed technology within our own solar system, using our own resources. The council limited what we could deploy beyond our borders, not what we could build at home." "You deceived us," hissed the Draconian ambassador. Laura faced him directly. "You massacred our colonies without provocation. You crossed a line no species should cross." The council chair being raised his hands for silence. Several member species wished to offer support to humanity in this conflict. This was new. Laura looked around and saw representatives from the Altarian Alliance and the Nexus Confederation nodding in agreement. "The Draconians have grown too powerful," said the Altarian ambassador. "Their aggression threatens us all. We stand with humanity." Back on Earth, Major Chris Howard led his troops through the recaptured Mars base. The battle had been fierce but short. Human soldiers equipped with advanced armor and weapons had overwhelmed the Draconian occupiers. "Secure these areas," he ordered his squad leaders, "and treat any wounded prisoners according to protocol." A young soldier approached him. "Sir, we found something in the command center. The Draconians were using this base to coordinate attacks on 3 more human colonies." Chris examined the data. "Send this to command immediately. This could save thousands of lives." In deep space, Lord Selthar's damaged flagship limped toward Draconian territory. The defeat at Saturn had been devastating, but he had survived to report what he had seen. "Send word to all our allies," he ordered. Call in every favor, every treaty obligation. We need reinforcements. His second-in-command hesitated. My lord, several of our allies have broken communication. The council records show they have condemned our actions against the human colonies. Zelthar's scales darkened with rage. They abandon us now, after we did what many of them wanted, testing the humans' defenses. The humans proved stronger than anyone expected, his officer said quietly. On the Defiance William finished reviewing the new intelligence. He opened a channel to Earth Command. Admiral Martinez, I believe we have a way to end this war quickly, he said. We can take the fight directly to the Draconian Command Center. Martinez's image nodded on the screen. Prepare your plan, Captain. It's time to finish what they started. The combined human fleet gathered near Proxima Centauri, just outside Draconian space. Over 50 warships formed up around the 5 massive Titan-class battleships. It was the largest military force humanity had ever assembled. On Earth, President Carter addressed the Galactic Council via secure transmission. Her image stood tall in the center of the chamber. We didn't start this war, she said firmly, but we will finish it. The unprovoked attack on our colonies crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. The council members watched in silence as tactical displays showed the human fleet approaching Draconian territory. We offer the Draconian Empire one chance to surrender, the president continued. Return our captured citizens, withdraw all forces from human space, and face a council tribunal for war crimes. The Draconian ambassador hissed with contempt. We will never surrender to humans. Our grand fleet awaits your pathetic attack. President Carter's expression hardened. So be it. On the Defiance Captain William Collins gave the order to move out. The massive human armada jumped to faster-than-light travel, heading directly for the heart of Draconian power. In the command center beneath Earth's mountains, General Nelson tracked their progress. The Draconians have gathered their entire fleet to defend their command station, he said to Admiral Martinez. Over 200 ships. The space around Proxima Centauri lit up as both fleets engaged. It became the largest battle in galactic history, with hundreds of ships exchanging fire across a vast area of space. Lieutenant Commander Mary Sullivan led her fighter wings in a daring attack on the Draconian support vessels. Target their supply ships, she ordered her pilots. Cut off their ability to repair and refuel. The battle raged for hours. Human ships, though outnumbered, fought with unexpected tactics and technologies. The Draconian commanders struggled to counter strategies they had never seen before. Captain Collins directed the Defiance toward the massive Draconian command station. All weapons, focus fire on these coordinates, he ordered, highlighting the station's main power core. The Defiance shuddered as it took heavy fire from defending ships. Shields at 40%, reported Sam Brooks from engineering. Hold course, William ordered. We need to get closer. On a nearby vector, Mary Sullivan's command ship was hit by multiple Draconian weapons. Systems failed across her vessel as fires broke out on multiple decks. We're losing structural integrity, her first officer reported. Mary made a quick decision. All crew to escape pods. Set collision course with the Draconian flagship. She stayed at the controls as her crew evacuated. With her damaged engines burning their last fuel, she aimed directly at the enemy flagship protecting the command station. Her ship struck with tremendous force, creating a gap in the defensive line. Lieutenant Commander Sullivan's ship is gone, someone reported on the Defiance bridge. But she's opened a path. William nodded grimly. Take us in. Make her sacrifice count. The Defiance plunged through the gap, firing all weapons at the command station. Other human ships followed, concentrating their attack on the same target. The Draconian command station began to break apart under the assault. Inside, Lord Selphar watched in disbelief as his empire's greatest achievement crumbled around him. How? He whispered. How could they defeat us? From Earth, Admiral Martinez coordinated the final phase of the attack. With the command station destroyed, The Draconian fleet fell into disarray. Their rigid command structure collapsed without central control. One by one, enemy ships began to surrender. The few that continued fighting were quickly disabled or destroyed. 3 days later, Ambassador Laura Miller stood before the Galactic Council once more. This time, she dictated terms. Humanity will no longer accept second-class status, she declared. We have proven our strength. Now we will help build a more just council, one that protects all species equally. The Draconian empires sued for peace, their leadership in ruins. The other council species quickly accepted humanity's new status as a major power. At the memorial site built on New Horizon Colony, Captain John Hayes stood before the monument to the 30,000 lives lost in the first attack. He placed his hand on the cold stone. They crossed the line, he said quietly, and now the galaxy knows who we really are. Across the stars, word spread quickly. Humans were not the quiet, compliant species everyone had assumed. They had merely been patient, and when provoked, their response had been swift and overwhelming. Peace returned to the galaxy, but it was a different peace now, one in which humanity stood as a force no one would dare challenge again.